Joining us on the last edition of Journalist Hangout this week, I'm Benga Oreshegun. Today on the program, Governor Zulum reaffirms support for security forces in the war against Boko Haram. Senator Ume urges Abure to heed Supreme Court judgment over Labour Party crisis, says the door is shut on him. And later on the show, Senate President Akpabio denies assassination plot allegation, asks police to prosecute Senator Natasha. I'll be hanging out with Asukwo James and Tony Nwaje. Journalist Hangout starts right now. Now let's begin the conversation. The uproar generated by the death of 16 travelers from northern Nigeria in Edo State is yet to die down. As part of measures to douse tensions and ensure justice, the Edo State government and the federal government have constituted a fact-finding committee to investigate the circumstances surrounding the killings of the traveling hunters on the 27th of March in Uromi, in a northeast local government area of the state. Governor Monday Okwebolo has reiterated his commitment to get to the bottom of the incident as a delegation from Kano paid him a visit and thanked him for the calm and responsible approach he adopted during his visit to Kano State. Okay, Tony, let's start this way. Now that a fact-finding commission, your committee, has now been brought about, what should the families of the victims and also Nigerians be expecting from this fact-finding committee?
Fact-finding committee means fact-finding. Fact, I'm confused most times when I hear committees, fact-finding committees or commission, because even before committees are set up, I'm talking about Nigeria. Most times, before fact-finding committees are set up, we know what the solution, what the issues are. You know, so I wonder what, we like committee this, committee that. Once we have effective, proactive security agencies that work in sync, we don't need because most of at the end of the day, this so-called fact-finding committee, most times, I'm not limiting it to this, are not people drawn from security units. And we're talking about issues bordering on security in this case. You see, most times they draft politicians to do fact-finding. For me, the solution is to energize the security system, apparatus, like what is going on? If we can sit down here and tell you these are the issues on ground, what led to this? Because we've been having recurring issues like this in recent past, before the state. I think this is just a wake-up call. So I don't have a problem with setting up a fact-finding committee or commission or whatever the appellation is. The issue is, what is their mandate? When we set up this committee, will it nip it in the bud? Is it not going to happen again next time? Yeah. I think we should go beyond setting up committees. What we should be looking at this point is how to address the issue on ground that led to this.
Okay.
Now we're talking about Uromi killings and all that. What led, I mean, we have issues across the state. Just take Uromi, take Edo State off it. We've had issues of killings, and when the citizens at a point felt they are not protected, what do you think has happened? That's why I said, let us just take Uromi off it. They react. Even in some areas around Nigerians, people attack streets, they come in the night to rob streets. At a point, you see the street waking up to say, okay, let's take the security of these streets in our hands. Let's see how, of course, when the police, you call them, it takes hours to come. So what do? You take these things, but what I will not subscribe to, or what I will not encourage is jungle justice part of it. But it gets to a point, people want to take these things into their hands and say, this is what you want. Now that this thing has failed us, we can actually control this. So you see the mountain gates, they do vigilante over and over again because they feel the government has failed them or the security system has failed them. So that is what I think the government should be talking about. No? Because when you set up a fact-finding committee, you're going to fund them. You know, at the end of the day, we have solutions to these things. We have them.
So you don't think the fact-finding committee is not what we need? I think
for me it's irrelevant.
It's irrelevant? I
think it's irrelevant.
Do you agree with him?
Well, everybody has
their own opinion.
Yes, exactly.
So I think why the government is setting up the committee is to, just like you said, I'm not too happy whenever anything happens, we set up committees. My own is, what are the issues? So I think government can deal with the issues without even setting up a committee. That is why we have DSS, we have all the security agencies. And once we have those security agencies, they should be able to come up with their own report, and then the government deal with that, use that report to do with whatever they need to. Okay? So because setting up another committee is like we are trying to gloss over the matter and just push it somewhere. You understand? But it is just beyond that. There's something that happened before those guys decided to take up, you know, to decide to do the, you know, go ahead with the jungle justice. You understand? And that is the number one thing we should start to look. What has been happening and all of yes, exactly. Areas. What has been happening in that region? Is this something that the government could have dealt with? And did government even give them a listening ear? Okay. You know, so we can now, with that, we can now begin to say, okay, fine. If government actually, you know, was making effort to deal with that situation, did they even arrest people, you know, for them to even calm frayed nerves? I
heard that some persons were arrested.
No, I mean, even before then.
Okay, before then.
So if they did all this, okay, and then these guys decided to go ahead with the jungle justice, then they should be prosecuted. Because government was making effort to say that kidnapping stop, killing stop, and all that. Okay, but because the report from the committee, okay, I was just thinking, what will the report contain?
That we don't know.
What will that report contain? Because that route will still be the road that they will definitely pass. But because I was looking at it in a bigger way. The bigger way is that the government at the federal level, at the state level, at the local level, first should begin to sensitize people on values. They need to see human life as having value.
Okay.
No matter what anybody does to you, okay, no matter what anybody does to you, you should first see that person as a human being, except the person is a criminal or a terrorist or a kidnapper. And that is when you even have the evidence.
Okay.
Okay. Well, once the person comes, then the next thing you should do is to hand over the person to the police. Let the police deal with the matter. Because seeing a human being and then trying to hack the person down, you know, is
this not a case of they don't believe in the police? Is it that, can we say that the police have failed? But another thing is, should we use what happened in Uromi, the incident, can we use it to kickstart a conversation about declaring a state of emergency insecurity in Nigeria?
That's what I said.
We saw the situation in Bokas, in Plateau State, in Benue. Should we use that as now to start that conversation?
That's why I said it's more like a wake-up call.
A wake-up call.
Yes. And don't just let us wake up and go back to sleep again. True. When you wake up, stand awake, you know, stand awake. Just as Asiku was saying, the committee, definitely. You know, the normal thing now, because this committee is not going to be different. It's not going to be different from
the other committees.
We know these things. They come up, they see, they talk, they go around, they talk the environment where this thing happened. They come out, they put up this committee, the report together, they submit to the governor, or they submit to the president, or they submit to the heads of security agencies. That would be all. There's not going to be a communication between them and the people. So even if you are working on the ground, nobody is going to know. Okay. And it happens again. So when it happens again, what do you expect the people to do? So when we do this, let people see things happen. Before this thing happened, things were happening. And people were crying. There's so things. People were being killed. People going to people's house to kill them, kidnap them. they disappear. At times they pay ransom, they still kill them. I know that access, Uromi, Irua, Abiele, Agenibode, Auchi, that access has been a no-go area. When you're passing that access, of course, you have to pray.
Okay.
You have to pray. And so people have been talking for a while, and nothing happened. So this one happening now, that's why I said it's a wake-up call. And we should not go back to sleep. Let it be a wake-up call for government to call the security system, people who are managing, people who are managing the security architecture of this country together. And say, can we tackle this thing now so that it doesn't happen again? You saw the way the governor was running to Kano State, and then the Kano deputy governor coming to. They know the implication. They know where this thing was headed. Now, so let it be a wake-up call and let them actually wake up and address this thing squarely. All right.
We have Babatunde from Ado-Ekiti. Babatunde, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Thank you very much. I want to quickly contribute to that very topic.
All right, let's talk.
Now, the issue is... Can I go ahead?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, the issue is that people have lost confidence in all our institutions. The issue is that people don't trust these institutions again. Fact-finding at this very moment, when we all knew what happened. Then the police, they don't have any trust in them. Most of the times, when you capture a criminal and send that criminal...
Does that mean we should resort to jungle justice? With what you're saying?
No. I'm not talking about jungle justice. I hate it. But what I'm saying is that the real facts that we need to discover is that this is where our problem lies. People don't trust the system again. Are you getting it? So that is the fact of the matter which I think the federal government should really deal with. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah, that is the fact that our system has failed us. What can we do to bring back the trust we need to have in all these institutions? And we are having institutional problems in Nigeria.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, Tony talked about the way the governor has been going. Let's look at the actions of the governor since this matter happened in Uromi. What are your thoughts about it? The way he's been handling the issue since
I think
the matter happened.
The governor has been fantastic, because there are some governors that once there's a crisis in their state, they won't even get there until maybe 2 days after. Or the governor was not even in town. And even when the governor hears that, your house is burning, the person will still be abroad and won't bother taking the next available flight back.
Exactly.
But this one went there, and then he now saw that the future might be very deadly.
Sure.
So he needed to, put his shoes on and went to Kano to go and appeal to the governor. And if not only that, not just to go and sit down with the governor to Jojo and talk and say, I'm sorry, but he went to the village, where these guys,
and the people from, he can speak the language.
So he was able to connect.
To connect with
them,
people,
to the people they're over there. So he didn't just sit down in his office and say, okay, let's sit down, okay, it won't happen again. And then those who have been arrested, they take them to prison for prosecution. But he went further. And I think this is the first time I'm seeing a governor doing this, something that has never happened before. When once a crisis happens, you reach out to the other state governor and see how you can tame the tide. Okay. Because we don't know what will happen next. Because already people were already saying there will be reprisals, reprisal attack, but we don't know where. So he was able to go to Kano to go and talk to the families, and I hope he also compensated the families, one way or the other. Although we know that there is no amount of money that can bring it, that is enough for a human life, But for the mere fact that he was able to leave his comfort zone and he went to Kano, to go and talk to the people. I think it was a plus for Governor Okwebolo.
Exactly. Your final thoughts on this?
The truth about this whole thing, we need to stand up.
Okay.
We need to change our strategy. We need to re-strategize so that what led to this doesn't happen again. Because if what led to this continues to happen, then this will continue to happen. Yeah. It will continue to happen.
So we need to nip it.
We need to stand up and be proactive so that it doesn't happen. And when it happens, people must be punished for it. Publicly. It's not we have It must be seen.
Absolutely.
People must see. So when you keep doing that, people will start having assurances and confidence in government that truly.
Okay.
But when they go on and nothing happens, of course, they will react and they get to a point.
It's because there's nobody that has been prosecuted.
Exactly. There needs to be we should have
why
consequence for bad behavior.
Yeah,
Exactly.
All right, then. All right, let's move straight to our next conversation. In the face of daunting security